Food is the gift that keeps on giving. Not just taste-wise, but also because of the facts behind the food. Did you know some of the incredible stories about chocolate chip cookies, PB&Js, or the humble McNugget? Join me as I check out some major fun facts with food. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 fun food facts you won't believe are true. 25. Honey lasts thousands of years. Does honey have an expiration date? Amazingly, it doesn't. We have a lot to thank the bees for because they produce a substance that can last thousands of years. People in modern times have been known to eat honey dating back to ancient Egypt. Unlike regular food, it naturally rejects any icky things that could spoil it. Make sure it's airtight and out of the sun and you should be fine. Be careful though, and remember we are not nutritionists. 24. The plurality of pineapple. We call it a pineapple, but truthfully it's more like pineapples. What looks like one fruit is actually multiple. The pineapple grows from lots of flowers with berries, which join forces into one juicy, delicious mass. That's why the exterior of the pineapple looks the way it does. It's a bunch of stuff all jammed into a single food item. 23. You can eat the labels on fruit, but I wouldn't recommend it. While our instinct is to peel the labels off, say an apple, it doesn't have to be that way. If you forget it's there, or that label is really stuck on there, you can reportedly consume it along with the rest of the fruit. Some sources state that labels are edible, others warn that it isn't supposed to be eaten. Either way, the consensus is that you won't be harmed by a fruit or veggie label. They just don't recommend you do it. I mean, it could get stuck in your throat for one thing. Again, not a nutritionist, just saying. 22. American sugar consumption. It's no surprise to hear that people eat a lot more sugar now than they did centuries ago. But what are the actual stats? In an absolutely mind-blowing piece of news, it was revealed that Americans in the 21st century consume 4,500% more sugar than they did 300 years ago. That makes my teeth hurt just to read that out loud. 21. Jefferson and Hemings present mac and cheese. Thomas Jefferson, the American founding father, achieved many things. His greatest achievement? Maybe it was introducing the US to mac and cheese, alongside his chef James Hemings. Hemings is known as the first American to study cooking in France. He was also a slave of Jefferson's as well as being a part of his family, so the story is bittersweet. However, his knowledge and Jefferson's love for pasta combined to leave a creamy, irresistible legacy. They didn't invent it, but we're glad they made it. 20. Space beef. The first man in space was Russian Yuri Gagarin, who blasted off in 1961. It was a whole new experience for mankind. Unfortunately, his dinner was less than epic. Apparently, Gagarin had to eat a paste made from beef, which came in a tube. I guess it was like eating really funky toothpaste? Oh, did I mention the paste contained liver? Even more delightful. Hey guys, just jumping in here real quick to tell you some exciting news. You know how you love watching our videos for amazing facts? Well, what if I told you that you could also have 500 amazing facts in the palm of your hand? That's right, we wrote a book. This one right here. What the facts are you talking about? And you can order it right now and have List 25 right in your library or on your coffee table or wherever it is you keep your books. It's available right now on Amazon, so click the link in the description and grab yourself and friends and family a copy today. 19. Raspberries and roses. Remember that classic song by Seal, Kiss from a Raspberry? Okay, I got that wrong, but it's not so far-fetched. Why? Because a raspberry is technically a rose. It's part of the same plant family, alongside other surprising fruits such as apricots, cherries, and pears. Yes, a pear's a rose. I had no idea food was so confusing. Strawberries are not berries. 18. Almond and steak surprise. No, I'm not putting them together for a new and extremely weird taste combination like that one video we did. Click here to check that out. I'm talking about the protein content. Did you know there's approximately the same amount of protein in both almonds and steak? The experts say that 100 grams of almonds contain 28 grams of protein, compared to around 25 grams of steak. Of course, almonds carry a warning due to their cyanide content, so I should mention that chickpeas are an alternative and powerful source of protein. 17. Bananas versus mosquitoes. If you've been bitten by a mosquito and you're out of bite cream, then you might want to reach for a banana. Use the gunky side of a banana peel on the affected area, rubbing it like a fruity sponge. By doing this, you're getting the oil from your banana into the bite, which is then soothed. All natural, all pretty crazy. 16. Figs are not vegan. You would think that a fig is safe to eat for vegans, right? Actually, some figs aren't vegan friendly, depending on how strict you are. Why is that? Because figs are naturally pollinated by egg-laying wasps. For some, this is a step too far, but others don't mind the idea that insects did their business in a fig. You could say they got figgy with it. Or you could not say that. Experts are keen to stress that a large amount of figs in the US do their own pollinating, so no wasp content, though this isn't a guarantee. 15. White Castle. McDonald's is the name associated with fast food in America. Does this mean they were the first to offer a fast food service? Nope. The restaurant chain White Castle introduced the idea to the US back in 1921. They apparently helped make hamburgers a big part of the American diet. White Castle's super hygienic locations took customers' minds off the old idea that burgers were unsafe to eat. 14. Andy Warhol's Crazy Sandwich. Legendary pop artist Andy Warhol is famous for his image of soup cans, but he was actually more into sweet things at mealtimes. He also had some strange ideas on the subject. Rumor has it he would take 2 slices of bread and put a chocolate bar in the middle. This sandwich was reportedly seen as a type of cake by the eccentric artist. 13. We have Pilgrims to thank for apples. If the Pilgrims hadn't landed in what became the United States from England, the Americans wouldn't have apples. This is incredible to think about when you consider the roles apples play in US food history. The expression, as American as apple pie, comes to mind for starters. It all began stateside with an orchard planted at Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1629. 12. PB&J and WWII. The first peanut butter and jelly sandwich was mentioned in 1901. That said, World War II gave this squishy, crunchy treat a boost in the 1940s. Servicemen found them an easy way to grab a bite while fighting Hitler, and there was no need to give them up once the war ended. They were in the national consciousness, and they were here to stay. Crunchy or smooth? Let me know in the comments below. It's smooth. 11. Beethoven's Ninth. Soup. Having written some of the meatiest symphonies in history, composer Ludwig van Beethoven must have had one hell of an appetite. In fact, Beethoven was a soup guy. He reportedly enjoyed such delicious flavors as, bread soup with raw eggs. The great man was famously deaf, and it seemed his sense of taste may have been shot also. Have you ever tried some of the weird sounding foods on this list? I mean, maybe you have some fun food facts of your own you want to tell us about. So watch the rest of the video in case we're covering it, and if not, let me know in the comments below. 10. People steal a lot of cheese. Cheese is pretty expensive, so naturally some people want to steal it to get their dairy fix. This isn't anything new though. Back in 2012, for example, it was being reported that shoplifters targeted cheese as a tasty treat. In fact, British celebrity chef Anthony Warhol Thompson went public after stealing cheese from a store, so it isn't always the hard up who do it. It's actually the most stolen food item in the world. Around 4% of the planet's cheese supply is given a 5-figure discount every year. 9. Paid in chocolate. The creator of chocolate chip cookies must have made a fortune for their tasty invention, right? Wrong. Chef Ruth Wakefield from Massachusetts first came up with the idea in 1938, and the Nestle company liked what they saw. After all, she had used their chocolate bars in her baking process. What did they offer Wakefield to promote her recipe? A grand total of $1. If that was all the money she received, then I can't see her being too upset. Why? Because Nestle also provided her with a lifetime supply of chocolate and a deal to work with them on future projects. Although Nestle sucks as a company, so... 8. The crazy connection between peanuts and dynamite. Here's a fact that'll blow your mind and drive you nuts. Peanuts are kind of an ingredient in dynamite. How so? Dynamite uses nitroglycerin, which is the liquid glycerol mixed with nitric acid. Where does glycerol come from? Well, in part from peanut oil. So without peanuts, we wouldn't have old school explosives. 7. Tea bags were invented by accident. Tea in bags was more of a transportation thing than a drinking thing. At least, according to a fun story about Thomas Sullivan, a tea importer in the early 20th century who placed his precious tea in silk baggies. His merchants then decided to boil the tea in the bags rather than empty them first. Why would people do that? We're not sure, and the accuracy of the story has been questioned anyway. 6. 1% burnt. Is there anything more horrible than burnt toast? Yes. That's according to 1% of the American public who actually like their toast served this way. I'm actually kind of surprised there's a niche for charred bread, but to each their own, I guess. The 2019 survey from polling company YouGov also discovered that 66% of Americans prefer their toast lightly done. 5. Lasagna is Greek. Seriously? I could have sworn it was Italian. The name lasagna comes from laganon, a Greek noodle. Italians were certainly involved in the promotion of lasagna. They brought it over the States, for example. But lasagna has its true origins in ancient Greece. Italy only heard about it through the Roman Empire, i.e. soldiers took over the country and imposed all their food and culture. 4. All peppers are green. Amazingly, green peppers are young peppers. The older a pepper gets, the more colorful it becomes. Sweet peppers, for instance, go from green to red. They can even turn purple. Have you ever seen a purple pepper before? Bonus pepper fact, the orange kind is reportedly good for your eyes. 3. The Royal McNugget. There's a connection between the classic junk food McNuggets and Buckingham Palace. I'll stick a crown on my head and call me Charlie. When they first came out in the 1980s, McNuggets weren't just any old fast food. Royal chef Rene Arend was involved in developing the nugget recipe, making them surprisingly sophisticated. We don't know whether the royal family eats McDonald's, however, there were restaurants on the Crown Estate during the time of Queen Elizabeth. 2. Mussolini and garlic. Benito Mussolini was a brutal dictator, and his favorite foods sound pretty awful too. There are stories that he put chopped raw garlic into a salad with lemon juice for dinner. Mussolini was also a family man who enjoyed eating with the family. You had to be punctual though. Good luck explaining to a literal fascist why you're late to the table. 1. Someone tried making nuts and gum for real. Remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer pulls a tin out of the cupboard labeled nuts and gum? It's funny stuff. However, someone decided to make nuts and gum an actual thing. In 2016, food writer Laurel Randolph tried out the taste of bubblegum with salted nuts. Did it work? What do you think? The idea was created by Homer Simpson. The whole point is that it doesn't work. But she tried anyway, and that's what really counts. And those are some fun facts about real food. But what about fake food? Check out the video on some funked up recipes right here. Probably the one I mentioned earlier. Click it twice. Yeah.